Does anyone else have the problem where they see a deck list that has another void in it, and then they just, like, have to immediately play it? Or is that just a me thing? I'm gonna assume that's an everyone thing. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we are going to be playing with a very different take on the mono-black Leyline Helm combo. Now, this is a familiar combo to the channel. We've played this combo in a handful of mono-black shells, but this is the most discard heavy of all of the versions that I've seen so far. In case you're not familiar with the general premise, activating a Helm of Obedience for X equals 1, while either Dalthy Voidwalker or Leyline of the Void is in play, results in milling your opponent out and all of those cards going to exile. Now, what makes this version unique? This version has Read 'em and Weep 12 one-drop discard spells and Hymn to Tourach. You are going to bully the absolute shit out of your opponent's hand. For sure. Now, the other thing this deck is doing that's unique is it's playing Profane Tutor. Now, this is a card that I played in the Lightning Storm deck that I played recently, and it really overperformed there. It was quite good. Here it is going to be the way to find our other combo piece that we are missing. So the idea is just repeatedly slam our opponent with discard, and then eventually win with Leyline Helm. I believe the originator of the deck list was Into Play, and they said one of the cool things about the deck list was that in the sideboard, you essentially just have this transformational creature sideboard where you can just go and play a bunch of the best black creatures ever made, most of which are really, really good with Dark Ritual in the first place. Plus, the deck list has another void. And while that might seem super random as a one-of, keep in mind we have Profane Tutor. So for the unfair broken combo decks, we can just suspend a turn 1 Profane Tutor, and then eventually, well, not eventually, just 2 turns later, just grab another void and cast it. And given the amount of discard that we have, we should be able to clear the way for it and keep our opponent from comboing off. So I really like this take on this deck list, just kind of by the look of it. I do wonder if there should be an Urborg or two in here, because we do have some black cards like Hymn to Tourach and Leyline of the Void, and we also have these Wastelands and Urza Sagas that are meant to deny resources. I'm not sure how necessary those Wastelands actually are. Urza Saga is really powerful, so I get it. But my first inclination here, as is often the case with deck lists that I play on this channel, is maybe we go just that much less greedy on the mana base. But this got a 5-0, and it looks pretty good to me. So I think I'm just going to try this one out. And although there are quite a few colorless sources, man, are we really only at 14 black sources? All right, hold up. All right, maybe I will cut a couple of these Wastelands for some swamps before I get started here. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. All right, while I do that, consider throwing the video a like for this video. You know what? Like the video, it helps out a lot if you want. It would be cool. I'm tripping over my words. If you're new here and you like what you see, consider subscribing. Let's battle. Dark Ritual, 3 mana. Dark Ritual, 5 mana. Helm of Obedience, activate. This is a turn 1 Goldfish if my opponent is on a non-blue deck. Just play a Plains. Ooh. An island. I don't think I'm going to YOLO this. I have my win in hand. I'm not too worried about dying. Show and tell combo would be one of the best things that, that could happen, right? And I would just put in Helm, activate it, and kill my opponent. Okay, so my opponent is not a combo deck. So, I will just... Well, shit. That's interesting. I'm just going to suspend the tutor this turn. Play this nice and disciplined. This is bad versus Teferi, I guess. The next turn, I just, play Urborg, have Dark Ritual Helm, And if it doesn't work, I just repeat the following turn. Potentially with discard backup then. Ooh, opponent does not have more land drops here. I will put you to the test. There's a Helm. I mean... Cool. So we are playing against blue control deck. That is the information that I have. Nether Void's kind of interesting. Pithing Needle's kind of interesting. I think I like the idea of cutting a Chrome Mox for a Pithing Needle. And a second Chrome Mox for a Crucible of Worlds. As this game goes really long, I want to have access to rebuying Urza's Saga from Graveyard. I don't think I need additional copies of Dauthi Voidwalker. My opponent is going to be good at answering creatures, just either with cards that are in their deck or incidentally. I can consider going deeper on like Opposition Agent, or I could also bring in Nether Void as something that's just like super annoying and is also like a protection spell. I need like Cursed Scroll. I don't really feel like I need Cursed Scroll here. I think I'm going to bring in the Nether Void for the Cursed Scroll. Like, I've brought in Pithing Needle, which is probably going to be a more attractive target against this deck. This has, air quotes, one combo piece in it. But, like, this hand has a lot of dead air. I think I'm just going to mulligan this one. This hand does nothing. Go to 5. This is a bad 5-card hand. I think I'm keeping. I'm going to pitch an Urborg. And I think I pitch a land. Like, there's worlds where I can want this Dark Ritual. But there's probably not worlds where I brick on land drops just absolutely forever. Okay, like, hand is now just totally reasonable. Alright, we've prompted action from our opponent. Okay, they're just going to hide their best card. That's totally fine. Those are good cards. Can't hit Jace. I think I'll take EI here. So, opponent probably has like a Brainstorm or Ponder or something of that general nature on top of their deck that they hid. Alright. So let's get Urza Saga going, and then I can suspend my Profane Tutor, which can represent half of a combo. Now, let's see what my opponent has. Teferi would be annoying here, because like it's good against Profane Tutor. Okay, it is a Narset. It's also quite good. Binding Swords to Plowshares. Wrong. I do want to force my opponent to use that Swords to Plowshares. I guess I could use Dark Ritual. Like, I guess I can kill Tundra and then use Dark Ritual to make an Urza Saga token. That maybe gets Force of Willed? Yeah, that... No, I think I like it, actually. Let's junk this Tundra. And I'm going to go to my opponent's turn, so Force of Negation can't be used. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try to do this now. Like, this doesn't work all the time. I think this is an okay exchange of resources for me. Clear the way for the combo nonsense later. I Pithing Needle the Jace. And I just try to drag this game on for a bit while knocking my opponent off of white mana. Maybe I'm wrong and just like playing the Urza Saga game is more important. There's an Expressive Iteration. That's a very good hit. Oh, okay. Man, that's very good. Now they'll cast the Brainstorm. Alright, Profane Tutor goes off. I will cast it. Alright, opponent is F6 to that. Crucible? Crucible's real good here. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Go a Colorless Mana here. Search. Do Pithing Needle. Or Jace. And I think while I have 3 available mana, I go ahead and cast this, and I like also know it's resolving right now since my opponent F6'd. And then next turn, I can him to Tourach plus play Urza Saga. That feels quite strong. A little inconvenient if Prismatic Ending for X equals 3 kills Crucible before I get a land drop out of it. Okay, but if that happens, Jace is kept in check by the Pithing Needle instead. Beautiful. I guess randomly cards like Daze exist. I'll play out this land ahead of time. him. Please don't discard the Jace. Alright. Can't have them all. Okay. I picked up a Duress from that. But, like, my opponent picked up 7 cards. Oh, man, do you have, like, a where? Yeah. Okay. This is exceptionally bad for me. Obviously. Oh my god. I am not going to beat that value. I feel like conceding here. But, like, my opponent doesn't end the game quickly either, so, like, I guess I'm not technically dead. The next few turns are just gonna be miserable. Like, I've lost to their combo. And, like, now we're going to, play for a few turns and pretend like there's still a game here. But, like, they are just going to get Expressive Iteration, Snapcaster Mage, Expressive Iteration. Like, that's so much value. And I have no cards in hand and effectively no cards on board. I mean, that helps. That takes out another draw 2 effect. Okay, they brainstormed it to the top to play around that. I'm not beating this. I'm gonna move on and respect my own time here. I might need more creatures to pressure my opponent. They are still playing Source of Plowshares and Prismatic Ending. I don't know, though. Like, playing more creatures plays into the cards that they have in their deck already. Like, maybe my plan of just trying to assemble the combo is still fine. It just, like, sucks to be the discard deck versus the, like, card advantage deck and Planeswalker deck, right? Like, I'm just physically on the wrong side of the matchup. Absolutely, keep. We'll play Leyline here. Turn 1's really hard, because I can just, like, start crapping constructs everywhere, or I can start on discard. I think I'm going to start crapping constructs everywhere. That just puts more immediate pressure on my opponent and forces them to dedicate resources towards this. And then hopefully I can eventually do a protected Helm kill when I think my opponent has gone down on resources enough. All right. What are you doing? Nothing yet. You have to keep in mind that cards like Dress Down do exist. All right, cool. Go ahead and make another thing here. Opponent brainstorming and then fetching here to play around Pithing Needle on Scalding Tarn. 100% what I would have done if they did not respond. All right, there's the fetch. Getting a mountain. Maybe a meltdown in my future. Probably means I want to, like, Duress this turn. I think I'm going to Pithing Needle. Either Narset or Teferi. I haven't seen a Teferi yet. It's probably in there. I don't want my opponent digging for a meltdown. I'm going to name Narset. Bash in for my 3. Put opponent to 16. And then attempt to Duress away whatever good card my opponent has. I could take Force of Will and just slam Helm next turn. And my opponent can't probably Prismatic Ending it away. But if I do that, I basically lose all my onboard aggression. But I guess my onboard aggression doesn't matter if my opponent's dead. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Force of Will here. I've made my land drop. Let's call that a turn. See how threatened my opponent is and how quickly they move here. They can't get rid of 2 of these creatures super easily. Alright. They're doing stuff with Expressive Iteration now. I don't know if they have time for that. Okay, they have found a Wear Tear. Okay, so they are going for my Leyline to play around a Helm kill. Which is fine. I wish I had another black mana so that I could strip multiple of these. Or, like, play Profane Tutor and something else in the same turn. But I don't. Am I gonna just play out Naked Helm? I don't think I'm playing out Naked Helm. I want to take one of these. I'll go ahead and just bash in for my 6. Put my opponent to 9. And we'll just, like, keep up this whole Urza Saga plan. Just that. Duress my opponent. Oh, wow. I guess they only have access to 1 white mana. So, like, on that note, I could just take their Brainstorm, say, like, yes, you can have those spells. I will overwhelm that because you can only play one of these a turn. But in the worlds where they, like, draw a white land or draw a cantrip, that ends up being problematic. I'll take the Brainstorm, and we'll see where this goes. Yeah, Prismatic Ending away a token. That's fine. Make your island land drop. That's fine. I can play so many of my spells around Force of Negation. So, oop, undo. Sorry, I thought that was one higher. So I'll make my land drop here. I think I want to use my mana for Profane Tutor this turn. That's something that, like, does not interact with my opponent's open mana at all. There's 2 mana. Turn this into 3 damage. Dropping my opponent to 6. And I will suspend my Profane Tutor and play around their open Force of Negation. Draw another Brainstorm? It's a Snapcaster Mage. Okay, my opponent is just going to Snapcaster Brainstorm. Probably just to, like, attempt to look for more white mana. And just for the sake of their curve as well. Worried about, like, Meltdown and Dress Down in particular. The Fairy would also be really annoying. Looks like opponent is going to be holding up Swords to Plowshares. Sure, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and make my token here. We're going to pick up Shadow Spear. Going to play this out to play around Spell Pierce. Going to Thoughtseize my opponent now. This will force the Force of Negation if they still have it. They do. Okay. So equipping doesn't actually do anything here, right? Like, I equip my opponent's Swords to Plowshares in response, and then they chump block. Whereas if I just attack in, I end up in the same place, but at 2 life higher, or I can get the equip in on another card. Yeah, I'm fine with saving my 2 life here. I guess technically doing it this way, there's lines where my opponent can take 5 and go to 1, but I don't think that's happening. Okay, there's the block. And there's the Swords to Plowshares that I expected. That's fine. Now that I am at 17 from the Swords to Plowshares, I'm fine paying this equip cost. Again, I still think I'm only in bad shape to a couple of very specific cards. I will cast a Profane Tutor. I can just get Douthie Voidwalker and attempt to combo, or I can get something singularly annoying like Nether Void. It just makes it very hard for my opponent to ever win. I can also just get Crucible of Worlds and go Crucible of Worlds Urza Saga. I kind of think I like Nether Void. Maybe straight up, though, the answer is just, like, grab Urza Saga forehead. Get Douthie Voidwalker and represent a combo kill very quickly. Yeah, I like it. I think I'm going to go 4 mana, play Helm. This buffs these. These are potentially lethal in combat. I will make my opponent deal with these in combat. Yeah, there is a Swords to Plowshares. Opponent goes to 2. And now I also just have Douthie Voidwalker combo that my opponent has to deal with. And this plays around all the, like, Force of Negation, Spell Pierce type cards at this point. Because of Swords to Plowshares specifically, I believe I am supposed to just activate this now. And let's attempt that. Yep. That'll do. And that is the concession, and we have won our match 2-1. I think I keep this hand. Like, I bully my opponent with discard for a couple of turns, then I play an Urza Saga into a Helm and just kind of hope things go well. Ooh, we are potentially playing against some sort of Maverick-y style deck. I don't think I want that right now. I think I want to punch my opponent with discard a couple of times. The alternative is, like, play Urza Saga, Chrome Mox, imprint him to Tourach, Thoughtseize, start making constructs. I think I need to punch a hole in what my opponent's doing for a couple turns in a row. Ooh, okay, so we are playing against Green-White Depths. My opponent gets something fun pretty much no matter what next turn. I think I'm going to take out their flash threat. One other line, just to talk about it. There is another line where I Chrome Mox Imprint Thoughtseize, play him on turn 1. But I don't think giving up the Thoughtseize is necessarily good. Well, we can work towards big mana for Helm. That's for sure. Opponent will get a land of their choice into play, probably 1/2 of the Dark Depths combo. And then I'm hoping to take out the Green Sun so that they can't Elvish Reclaimer for the other half. Yeah, float your mana, do your thing. I know what's coming. Yep. Right, there's a Plateau, which is potentially just there for the size of Prismatic Ending alone. Him takes Green Sun and a Swords to Plowshares, so now I know opponent's last card. I've made my land drop, and we're good. So from here, my discard becomes significantly worse. Oh, I don't like this. This is like a Green Sun. Yeah, that's a Green Sun for maybe a Ramunap or a Knight of the Reliquary. Yeah. Opponent missed an attack there. Yeah, I mean, this is just the line. So I am going to get my Ancient Tomb wastelanded in all likelihood. Actually, opponent could go for just Dark Depths combo instead. We'll see how quickly they want to play this here. Like, they can just go for killing me next turn. I think wastelanding me is better, because, like, land drop into Helm of Obedience is something that kills them. But we'll see how they feel. Alright, there is floating a mana. Okay, yeah, they died for that decision. Enjoy your 2020. It will not do you much good in the afterlife. Yeah, no cards in hand, can't have an endurance. Yep, good stuff. Land drop. 4 mana Helm. Activate target you, mill your deck. An opponent should have conceded there rather than showing me their entire deck. But they didn't. Yeah. I guess I will begrudgingly take a picture of all these tiny cards. Is there anything particularly interesting here? Not really. So I kind of think discard's bad versus my opponent. So I'm probably going to load up on sideboard cards here. Like, I like these 9 cards a lot. Plague Engineer is not really great. It can occasionally kill a Delver. It can be a Death Toucher that can trade with Knight of the Reliquary, so, like, that's a thing that I can consider. I'm really just looking to be a more consistent combo deck that also has Opposition Agent as a Hate Bear. I think my Dark Rituals end up fueling... Where are we going? Fueling this stuff a lot of the time. I think it's okay to go down on hymns. Duress misses critical creatures, so I probably get rid of that. And Curse Scroll doesn't actually kill most of their creatures most of the time, so I probably bin that. From there, I can think about whether or not I want Grafdigger's Cage for Green Sun specifically. It's okay. Just a question of, like, how many discard spells do I actually want? / do I want Chrome Mox versus the Prismatic Ending deck? They did not have very many Prismatic Endings in game 1. Maybe they're fine. Maybe I can do this, though. This is turn 2 Opposition Agent with no turn 1 play. I don't love it on the draw, but, like, I do have 2 of them. I think that means this is good enough. I'll have, I don't know, about 16 1-drops to top deck for turn 1. So I think I'm okay with this. Ooh, buddy. I think I will just sorcery speed do this, though. Like, there's upside for trying to get my opponent, but I think I'm just going to play it safe here. Like, if they have swords, they get their 2 for 1, but then I just cast another one next turn. But I just don't want them to, like, fetch in response to this, like, being on the stack or something. That would just be really annoying for me. All right, we're chilling. This is a 3/2. I'm just going to play another Opposition Agent right now. Just, like, uses my mana the best. Yeah? Okay, there is a Swords. I am just never going to make it so that there's not an opposition agent in play here. So let's see how annoying this is for my opponent. There's a fetch land that I've taken out. Red. Outland Liberator. Annoying. The first way is if I cast no spells. Sure. I don't want to force the destruction of that thing. Don't know how quickly I can do that and feel good about it. Green Sun currently is not functional. I will take Endurance, leaving my opponent with a Green Sun. Wish I had played Urborg so that I could play Urza Saga this turn, and also Profane Tutor. If I play Urborg, it gives my opponent another mana. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just play the Urza Saga, pass, and try to force my opponent to pop this, and just, like, accept that trade. Okay, there's another land from my opponent. Alright. No combat. So this thing will transform. I want 2 mana to activate that, which is this, which still lets me Profane Tutor. This is fine with me. Alright. I am also not going to attack here. I want to keep this Green Sun shut off. Ooh. That is quite good. Because it means my opponent can attack and destroy Urza Saga. Or the Urza Saga token, rather. Like, I'm pretty much obligated to make this. But that is rather annoying for me. So, is there a world where I want to play Opposition Agent and take out this creature because it is a pain in the butt? There's a lot of worlds where that's the case, actually. Because, like, this makes it very hard to assemble my Leyline Helm kill, but then, like, opponent can start doing Elvish Reclaimer nonsense. So maybe not. You kind of have to deal with this somehow. We'll figure that out. I'll play Urborg, which unfortunately does give my opponent another mana. And I'll just pass the turn. There's worlds where my opponent taps out for something, and I do get to, like, do some sort of sneaky double Leyline Helm kill. This is very awkward, but fine for now. No, opponent has something. Oh shit, they have a knight. What am I doing with this Profane Tutor? I actually don't know. Can't Pithing Needle this successfully. This is probably like grab Douthie Voidwalker, play out Douthie Voidwalker, Helm, kill my opponent if they ever drop low on mana. Man, this is like so close right now, right? So this is 2 mana, Dark Ritual, up to 4 mana. I can get it in play, but I can't actually kill my opponent. I'm 1 mana short. Rats. The opposition agent's doing a lot of work. This card's a bit of a problem. Ooh, I double spell. Fuck. I double spelled transforming that back, so that helped a lot. And I wish I had, like, a one of tutorable board wipe, like a Damnation, a Toxic Deluge or something, because that would be exactly what I need right now. I just, like, don't have real removal, right? I don't. I think I'm going to go ahead and concede this one here. Like, I'm so very close. I think Collect Roof and Outland Liberator together just put this out of reach. The opposition agents are really good. These discard spells to disrupt the Green Sun feel important. I like Chrome Mox even less now that I know about those other 2 cards. And then it's a question of, like, do I want a Duress? Do I want a Hymn? Do I want a random Plague Engineer, even? First scroll gets shut off by Collector Oof, so I don't really know that that's the way that I want to go. I'm going to play 1 Duress. I think it's easier on the mana, and I'm just going to ignore the Plague Engineer stuff. I think as these games go long and I don't lock my opponent out or otherwise strip their hand, I just have problems. As Leyline and Helm in play, I do not have any disruption. I probably don't mulligan a hand that just has all of my combo pieces, though. Like, and Profane Tutor for a Dark Ritual to go faster. So this kills turn 4 as of right now. Which, unfortunately, is enough time for my opponent to, like, Green Sun or Collector Oof. I don't know, like, Douthie Voidwalker just getting there with Shadow into another Douthie Voidwalker also can be a thing that happens. Maybe not into that, though. Ooh, buddy! But yeah, that just kills next turn. The opponent has to have Collector Oof in hand. Just naturally. And it is a one of. Don't have it, please. Okay, that's not good enough. All right, Profane Tutor ticks down. Dark Ritual, 3 mana. Helm of Obedience, 4 mana. Helm target you. X is 1. Dead. Good stuff. Yeah. So we're 2-0. Opponent's deck is absolutely horrifying. I do not want to play this matchup. But scoreboard, we did it. All right, round 3, we're 2-0. I have a very disruptive hand that eventually will probably try to take over. Ho 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 ho! Hey now. Yeah, that's horrifying. I have to take a spirit guide or I am dead. That's no good. The good news is I win if my opponent doesn't draw an addition, like extra mana here. I just play Dalthy Voidwalker and my opponent can't beat that. Yep. So anyway, GG's. Okay, there's another land drop. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Yeah, I can kill very quickly with this. Although I think I still disrupt my opponent in case there are just some cards that I am not thinking of that can somehow beat me. I also should have wastelanded end of combat damage step if I'm being just like super technical with the things that I do here. Which I should be. It doesn't really matter in this instance. All right, so there goes Spy and Narcomoeba. Are we done? Yeah, we're done. All right, so we are playing against Oops All Spells. And I am like the biggest, dumbest pile of bullshit ever to fight against that deck. I have just so many relevant cards here. Actually, the Plague Engineers for Narcomoeba don't do a lot if Bridge gets involved. All right. First Scroll and Shadow Spear do not matter. Nethervoid on the draw might just be too slow, and like I just get Graveyard Hate instead of Nethervoid if I actually get a Profane Tutor. I need 3 more cuts. That's really hard to do. Really hard. Is it just him, the Tourach? As weird as that sounds. Like, I have 12 1-mana disruption spells. Let's sort this by mana value. Yeah, maybe it's just him to Tourach. Like, the random discard is not nearly as good as targeted discard. I could maybe trim a Helm, because I have Profane Tutors to find it, and Urza Sagas. The other thing I can do is just, like, cut Profane Tutor and just go, like, hey, I'm going to beat you if the game goes long anyway. And just take things that have a more immediate impact on the game and are better off Dark Ritual. You okay? I buy that. For the game on the draw, I would very much like Leyline. No initial mana, easy mulligan. My opponent has mulliganed as well. This has a Leyline and Urza Saga Ancient Tomb. That is absolutely fine as an opener. And then if I draw a black source of some kind, I have Dark Ritual into either Dalthy Voidwalker or Hymn to Tourach. Hand is good. I'm probably going to throw back Hymn to Tourach here. Hymn to Tourach can be better versus some of the like sideboard juke plans, like a Goblin Charbelcher. Okay, it appears that my opponent may just be passing the turn here. Nope, they're going to play out a Lotus Petal, that's fine. Nope, okay, they just wanted to do stuff in their second main phase. Sure. That's fine, we've got the graveyard covered for now. There's a black source. I think this turn now becomes Mox, Imprint, Inquisition. Ooh, yeah, that's very good. I will not exile a card to that. So, opponent here, notably, has to top deck a mana source to win. And if I draw a black source before they draw a mana source, I win this game. That was not the case. And opponent has their combo here. I'm going to go ahead and let them start it. And I'm just going to take a look at their sideboard configuration. 1 Force of Vigor, 2 Force of Vigor, 3 Force of Vigor, 4, 1. Okay, so they have the full play set of Force of Vigor. They are playing Bridges, so Plague Engineers are no good. And they have... Ooh, they have Leyline of Sanctity as well. That's really good to know about. Okay. So I'll concede here. Opponent has their combo. Now, notably here, they are incredibly soft to Doughty Voidwalker in particular. That card just beats them. So a Dark Ritual Doughty Voidwalker hand is better than a Leyline of the Void hand. Alright, on the play, do I want Nether Void or Profane Tutor? Hymn to Tourach becomes significantly worse if I know my opponent is playing that Leyline. So on the play, I might play Profane Tutor and Nether Void as a package and just get rid of the Hymn to Tourachs. Great hand if opponent does not have a Leyline. An unplayable hand if they do have a Leyline. I'm just going to go ahead and mulligan this one. I have stronger hands. Yes, this is a turn 1 Doughty Voidwalker hand. I will keep this. Pitching the Chrome Mox, that's unnecessary here. Opponent going to 5 cards. Alright, there is a Leyline of Sanctity. Fortunately for us, we have the Doughty Voidwalker opener. So, opponent has Hexproof, so, like, these cards are off, but, like, I will just attack my opponent 7 times with the Doughty Voidwalker. And I think, like, especially being on the play here, that's just going to be a faster clock than what they have to offer. Yep. 3-2 beats. Leyline of the Void as backup is also cool. Yep, opponent not doing anything with their turn. There's an Urborg. Again, just Doughty Voidwalker beats. With 1 more mana, I will have a Leyline of the Void. And then I will have an insurance policy in case opponent does have something spicy that they brought in. Ooh, untapped land. Sure. You can play a 2-3. Like, that's fine. Profane Tutor's an okay draw. Yaw. Drops my opponent to 8. I will go ahead and suspend that. The game will be basically over when that comes off of suspend. I will take 2 from their creature here. Is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. I don't really want another Profane Tutor. I mean, I'll cast it. Like, what else am I going to do? I have nothing else to do with my mana. Alright. Profane Tutor number 2 on suspend. Profane Tutor, by the way, just probably getting me another Doughty Voidwalker. It's just safer than just, like, getting a mana source for a Leyline of the Void. Alright. First one ticks down. Second one comes off. I will cast it. I'll just grab another Doughty Voidwalker, as I already discussed. Get my opponent down to 2. And then go ahead and deploy an insurance Doughty Voidwalker. And I can't really think of anything that beats me at this point. Yeah, there we go. So we're now 3-0 with this deck. Like, they've been fights, but deck has felt really good. I have sort of a medium opening hand here. Like, I can Dark Ritual, suspend a Profane Tutor, Duress my opponent, and Wasteland on turn 2, and then, like, Tutor. I don't know if this is better than just mulliganing. Like, this is kind of one of those hands where, like, if I use the Dark Ritual, I'm kind of blowing the Dark Ritual. If I don't use the Dark Ritual, like, what am I saving it for? Like, this is one of those hands where, like, the hand is not objectively bad, but I kind of feel like I can do better. I'm gonna go with Reluctant Keep. And I'm, like, there are worlds where I don't suspend Profane Tutor on turn 1. Alright, Unfair Land. Hopefully I can bully them with discard. I think unless I draw a... let's see what I draw before I make any promises about my play patterns here. Alright, no shuffle off of that. I think I'm just going to lead on a Duress. I think it's okay to Dark Ritual Profane Tutor. Oh, shit. Probably LED. Just without really doing the math, probably LED is the thing to take here. If I leave my opponent with LED... Yeah, it's LED. Alright. Cool. We are playing against Ant. Ad nauseum Tendrils. And they have a pretty redundant hand, unfortunately. I would love if they fetch a non-basic so that I can wasteland them. This is a matchup where that Nether Void that's in my sideboard, that'll be hot. I will like that. This is also a matchup where the Leyline of the Void effects are pretty good. I'll have to think about whether or not I want the Plague Engineers as, like, a way to deal with goblins. Like, I'll definitely want the Opposition Agents and probably Dauthi Voidwalkers. I honestly might board out the Helm of Obediences in this matchup. I am surprised my opponent is taking this long. It seems like they have a mana bottleneck unless they drew another LED. Because, like, they can Infernal Tutor with 2 floating, get another Infernal Tutor, right? Or, like, I think this turn, so much of the time, is just Infernal Tutor for another Cabal Ritual. Like, Misty plus Infernal Tutor in graveyard is 5 cards in graveyard. Then later you crack the Lotus Petal, making it 6 cards in graveyard. Okay. I poked my opponent, and they're finally starting to take action. Alright, Lotus Petal. Okay. Does this just work too? 1, 2, 3, 4. Lotus Petal can be 5. Alright, cast Cabal Ritual, go up to 3 mana. Lotus Petal up to 4 mana. Yeah, so this is an ad nauseum line. Cabal Ritual 3, Lotus Petal 4, Infernal Tutor 2, crack LED 5. Yeah. Very, very easy ad nauseum line. I am going to assume that my opponent is new to this deck if they don't see that, or I'm missing something, or they don't have ad nauseum or something weird like that because they're a strange build. Okay, here we go. There's the Cabal Ritual. Alright, there is the Infernal Tutor. Cracking for green. Just have a main deck Eve. This is just worse than ad nause, right? It's just, like, objectively worse than ad nause. 6, 11, 15, 18, 20. 6, 11, 15, 18, 20. I don't have recourse for that, but that gave me another turn. If I'm very obviously a combo deck if I'm playing Duress. I think you just go for ad nause and try to kill me that turn. Like, as long as you hit a Lotus Petal to start things off, and ad nause from 18 should be very easy. Yeah, opponent said took all that time and still messed it up, lol. Yeah, I think so. But it does not matter. Alright. Age in, Voidwalker in, Opposition Agent in, Nether Void in, Helms out. They just seem unnecessary. First Scroll and Shadow Spear out by same logic. And now I need 3 more cuts. It's actually pretty hard. Like, at this point, every card in my deck is good. Maybe I cut, like, 2 Chrome Mox and a land or something like that. Or I could alternatively go down Profane Tutor. I don't know. I really like Profane Tutor for Nether Void as a game goes long. Something like this is probably fine, though. I also could reasonably cut an Ancient Tomb, I think, instead of Swamp. Ancient Tomb doesn't cast Dauthi Voidwalker on turn 2. Yes, I will absolutely keep this as a very strong 1, 2, 3 punch of Leyline Thoughtseize into him, followed by Urza's Saga to actually win the game. Of note here, okay. Abrupt Decay is meaningless. Ad nause is good. Infernal Tutor is good. Is there any... There's no one card that my opponent can cast to ad nause quickly. But him is my next play, and him is random. Just taking out ad nause from their deck forever because of Leyline of the Void sounds really good here. So my opponent's turn, in all likelihood, is probably just Underground Sea Ponder, looking for another land. They might play out some artifact mana like a Lotus Petal. I think... Okay, sure. Thoughtseize is a fine draw. A little awkward for me, in that I expected to have a little more oomph versus my opponent, but it just means that I start trying to kill my opponent sooner. Unless I draw a new piece of discard. Well, I guess unless I draw another him. So if I draw a new piece of discard, I just play it. And then, like, drop Urza's Saga in the turn as well. Cage is totally reasonable. It's, like, not insane right now, because, like, I do control a Leyline of the Void. But I'm going to tap this one here. They represent Dark Ritual Opposition Agent still. But this still just, like, grows the Urza Saga construct tokens, which matters. I guess awkwardly, that might mean that I don't have another target for Urza Saga. Because I don't think I boarded in Pithing Needle or, like, Wishclaw Talisman or Delta. And just to note, if I am given the opportunity to disrupt or make a construct, in most cases, my answer will be disrupt. Like, I can win the game whenever if my opponent cannot win, right? That is another Ponder now. Ponder Shuffle into Ponder off Lotus Petal. Opponent is hurting on mana. Cannot currently Abrupt Decay or Infernal Tutor. And their Brainstorm could Brainstorm lock themselves if they do it. Alright, there is a Trop, so they did hit their land drop. Meaning they can Brainstorm in response to a discard spell. I am going to play this land this turn. I think it costs me life, which is a little awkward, but it makes it much easier. Shadowspear is not in the deck, right? Shadowspear is not in the deck. Chrome Moxes are out. Curse Scroll is out. I'm going to take a quick look. Just confirm I did not board in Pithing Needle. I did not board in Pithing Needle. Okay. Maybe that's a reason to leave in. I don't know. Like, the Chrome Mox wouldn't even have been good. I get worse against the natural tendrils if I do this, but I get better at playing discard next turn, which I think matters. The other thing I can do is just, like, play another Urza Saga here. I give up construct value by doing that, which may not be correct. I don't know. Like, maybe it's better to play Urza Saga. Like, but in worlds where I play Urza Saga, there's no worlds where I can play, like, a top-decked him. Alright, there is the Brainstorm. Opponent potentially has some lines that beat me here, specifically if they draw an LED. Otherwise, it should be very difficult. Alright, opponent has resolved their Brainstorm. Alright, and looks like I will get another turn. I do really think that I need a hit next turn, otherwise I kind of expect to be dead. Like, shutting off the graveyard does some stuff versus this deck, but not as much as I would like it to do. Yeah, I know. No artifacts. I expected that. Alright, there's an Urza Saga. Crash in for my 3. Now, the Ad Nauseam is out of their deck, which takes away a lot of their easier lines. And the graveyard is off, which also messes with some lines, but like a natural tendrils kill from 6 cards is not all that difficult, right? Ooh, okay, they do have Wishclaw Talismans in their build. I am punished for not having Pithing Needle in my deck. Oh! Oh! That's so good! That activates only at sorcery speed? Activate only during your turn. Okay. That's fine. I'm not going to play out the opposition agent ahead of time because then my opponent knows that they need to Abrupt Decay it. I'm just going to try to catch them in response to, like, a Wishclaw Talisman or whatever. I am representing lethal damage, so they, like, have to do something this turn or otherwise Abrupt Decay these tokens. Dark Ritual occurs. All Ritual occurs. Lotus Petal occurs. I will respond with an opposition agent. Now, my opponent can use 2 mana and cast Abrupt Decay to junk this, but costing them 2 mana in the middle of their combo turn, especially if they are a less experienced player, probably kills them. Yep. Okay, so now I know I want Pithing Needle. On the draw here, I think I'm going to swap Swamp. Hello? Magic Online? I think we froze up. Okay, I've gotten back in on Magic Online. I think I've sideboarded the way that I did before, and then swapped in so that I have Pithing Needle as an Urza Saga target. I'm cutting 1 Ancient Tomb instead of a Swamp. Actually, maybe I'll cut 1 Profane Tutor there. The Profane Tutors are slow. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Profane Tutors are too slow. Like, Profane Tutor Or Nether Void is... Oh shit, I have to keep one of those. This is a really good hand, unless my opponent Thoughtseizes me and takes my Dark Ritual. I don't know, even then, like, I just draw another swamp, and I vomit discard spells, and then eventually play an opposition agent and shut off searching. It's probably fine. Also note, there's a very good chance that my opponent times out during this game. Yeah, I think especially after my opponent takes a mulligan here, I'm going to just keep this hand. Assuming I make it to my turn, there is actually a very question of whether or not, like, a very good question of whether or not I actually just like Dark Ritual Opposition Agent, because I can follow that up with a discard spell every turn for the rest of the game. My best draw would probably just be another Dark Ritual, honestly. Okay, I am getting Thoughtseized, so I should lose Dark Ritual here, in my opinion. And assuming nothing changes about my hand, I will cast a Duress over an Inquisition of Kozilek, specifically so that I can cast, so that I can take an Ad Nauseam if my opponent has one. Oh, I get their Wishclaw Talisman. That's very good. Okay. So I'm a little bit at the mercy of my deck to draw lands. Even if I don't, I have one discard spell per turn for the next few turns. I think I'm going to be okay. Oh, wow, my opponent's not going to ponder at all. Does that mean they have Brainstorm and they're going to, like, try to Brainstorm juke me? If that's the case, I'm just going to hymn them. Like, this is noticeably better versus Brainstorm. Yeah. Good read, Phil. And then this still messes with their card density. I now don't know what they have. Alright, I took a Ponder and an Abrupt Decay from them. They are extremely low on resources. And, like, I'm going to continue to make that problem worse. Okay, Ponder is not surprising. There's no Shuffle. Okay, so they probably just drew another Ponder and are going to Ponder again now. Yep, okay, that's exactly what's happening. How many Abrupt Decay is my opponent playing? Like 3? 2? Okay, no Shuffle. They hit another land. Position Agent's real good. I'll just hold that up. Okay, there's the punish for just holding that up. I'm going to let my opponent have their lands, because I want to do this stuff, and I don't want to waste my mana. Yep. The fetching is expected. But I just really need these 3 points of damage here. So let's go ahead and crash in. Take my 3 points of damage. Put my opponent to 11. I'm going to cast the Inquisition. That's fine, I guess. Alright, opponent has a Misty Rainforest. I get to suspend this. And, like, minus the top card of their library being... Or no, it can't even be Ad Nauseam, because, like, I have Opposition Agent, right? So they can't, like, fetch with that fetch land. That fetch land should probably stay in their hand for Brainstorm. Okay, so now, as of next turn, Ad Nauseam becomes a live draw again. Sure. Crash in with my 3-2. I put my opponent to 8. Play a land. Next turn I have Profane Tutor for stupid black and the world enchantment. And that should be unbeatable. Alright, here's my Profane Tutor. I will cast that. I'm just going to take a quick look, make sure there's nothing I like more than Nether Void. There is not. So good. It's just, like, so unreasonable. Put my opponent to 5. And then I drop these cards in this order, because otherwise my Nether Void counters my Grafdigger's Cage. Okay, and we win the match there. GG's. Like, opponent was very obviously new to their deck, given the time discrepancy, and, like, everyone has to start somewhere. But, like, advice to players I have who, like, would happen to be in the same spot as this opponent is that, like, if you are playing a combo deck like that one, the tournament practice room can create single-player games where you can kind of goldfish the deck and get a feel for your lines so that you can move much faster. Final round here, playing for the trophy. I have Leyline Helm in hand, a Duress to protect whatever, like, combo stuff that I have going. And we'll get a feel for whether or not we're playing against a blue deck or a Yorion deck literally on turn 1. Or sorry, a blue deck or a Death and Taxes deck. Honestly, kind of hoping it's a blue deck. Yeah, Skyclave is the sort of shit that I don't want to see here. I will be taking Force of Negation. And then hopefully I can find something over the next few turns that deals with this Skyclave, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Like, I've got a Profane Tutor, so, like, that helps. Alright. Ponder immediately. Ponder immediately. And no shuffle. I will just absolutely immediately suspend this Profane Tutor. We had a lot of zones on screen here. I'm going to dismiss my opponent's Yorion for now. I'll remember that. I'll pop it out once I have dealt with more of the stuff that's in their hand. Alright, so I can't just, like, jam Helm into known Skyclave. Ooh, buddy. Hello. Alright, we can do this for a little while. Ooh. Gotten movement from my opponent here. And what's happening is that they're fetching around Opposition Agent. But that's something that if they were going to do it, they should have done it on their turn. Because of Dark Ritual. Okay, sure, that's fine. So now, if I want to jam, I can just play Ancient Tomb next turn and just go Ancient Tomb into Activate. But I don't think I have to do that. Like, I can Profane Tutor for, like, a Thoughtseize and try to clear the way a little bit more before I make my decisions about, like, whether or not I need to go for the combo. Holy Greed Pile, Batman. This is an Icefang Coatl deck that has these lands in play. Alright, no shuffle. I do kind of have to be wary of, like, an Alurin-esque combo kill. So let's cast my Tutor. I think I'm just going to take a Thoughtseize. I think I just want to punch a hole and then go for my kill. Let's do this. What do I take? Where's the Plowshares is the instant speed option here. Kind of on board with taking that. Makes my Urza Saga tokens better. White, blue, green, black. Opponent can Prismatic Ending for X equals 4 on this Leyline. So, like, Skyclave and Prismatic Ending both deal with my onboard stuff. Probably means I take the swords. Let's do that. And I'll just go Swamp, pass. Just, like, play this one patiently. If my opponent uses resources to get rid of the Leyline, I'm okay with that, because I have a bunch of Urza Saga, like, nonsense that follows anyway. There's Delta. Spellseeker, absolutely. What is I going to do? Find Ephemerate? Yeah, it finds Ephemerate. Alright. So I get hit for 1. End step. I do this with Urza Saga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total mana. I need 5 of this turn. So I can go for my kill this turn. My opponent has to brainstorm into both blue card and Force of Will or Force of Negation in order for them not to be dead this turn. Given the value engine that they are about to set up, I think I am fine going for the kill here. I believe my opponent should fetch with their Polluted Delta in response to this trigger because of Pithing Needle. They don't know that I don't have one, but it seems like a really good thing to play around here. They agree. Chrome Mox does not matter this turn. I'm going to grab Curse Scroll for in case things go long. I guess my opponent could have Daze in their deck. Here's my Helm. We've got to brainstorm into 2 appropriate cards. You don't have mana to, like, Ephemerate and also cast Brainstorm. We good? We're good. Target you. Oh, I didn't play Urborg. That's right. X is 1. Okay, that gets the kill. We need 1 more game win for a trophy. So we are essentially playing against a 4-color Vile deck list. My discard is not great against all of these, like, value ETB creatures. I'm probably going to want to go down quite a bit on discard. I will probably board in a good number of bears. I think bears are better than discard. I don't think I like hymns. I'm not going to keep up with my opponent in terms of value. I don't think I like Duress. Duress misses all of these, like, hate bear creatures. I think those are going. First scroll, like, technically can ping a bunch of stuff and kill it. I think I'm going to leave myself access to that. From there, I don't think I like Chrome Mox versus these various, like ETB blink effects, the Skyclave apparitions, Flicker Wisps, and such of the world. And Pithing Needle and Crucible of Worlds are also probably playable. Let's sort this by mana value at this point. I've got like Icefang Coatls to think about. I've got a number of humans. I've got elementals. The Plague Engineers probably find relevant targets. Needling Vial is cool. Do I really need to needle a Vial on like turn 5 though? Probably not. I would like to get this Crucible in here to recycle Urza Sagas. That's a pain in the ass for an opposing control deck to deal with. So this would mean 2 cuts. Could cut a little more discard. I might just cut some Profane Tutors. I don't know if my opponent is like randomly playing Teferi in that Yorian pile. If they are, like, the Tutor feels medium minus. I think I want the Tutors when I'm on the play, though. I'll absolutely keep this hand. I do have to decide how to play it. Wow. Alright. You got a land. And you've got a Vial. So, immediately I'm presented with a choice here. And that choice is like, do I want to Opposition Agent as fast as possible, or do I want to Pithing Needle as fast as possible? I don't get to do both. I think I want to Needle as fast as possible. Like, unchecked Aether Vial is very scary. And if I leave my opponent with a Vial, even if I, like, shut off some of their mana, I become significantly less good at, like, actually keeping the cards that they have from hitting play. Alright, there's an Icefang Coatl. Opponent notably does have basics this game. They are working actively towards Death Touch. Oops, excuse me. Delta available. There's a lot of weird things that can happen in the next turn cycle or two involving that Vial. There's also worlds where I don't make both constructs. I only make one of the constructs and, like, do some opposition agent type shit. I don't really know. Yeah, absolutely. Opponent might have another Icefang Coatl if they are making that attack here. So that's something to keep in mind. I am, I think, going to just extract my value here. And we'll see if my opponent does anything in response to this. It seems like the answer is yes, I should both, like, they should both activate Vial and do Polluted Delta. There's a Collector Oof. Sure. I talked about bringing this in specifically for this problem and then didn't do it. Scumbag Phil, you played this entire game wrong because you thought you boarded that card in. That might cost me a trophy. Fuck. Okay, yeah, that's super bad. What did I do? Did I, like, drag Profane Tutors back into the deck and then not grab Pithing Needle? Oh well. I'm gonna grab Curse Scroll for if I do take this thing out of play. Trying to think my opponent has another Ice Fang, so I am gonna go ahead and just Thoughtseize here. I also think my opponent was supposed to fetch. Or I guess their Collector Oof shut off their Vial too. Blah. Yeah, okay. Eternal Witness and Swords to Plowshares. I will be taking the Eternal Witness here. Alright, their Vial's off. They've got 3 mana. This isn't Death Touching. Actually, this maybe is not as bad as I thought it was. Like, my opponent gets to draw another card with his Ice Fang. And we'll see whether or not it ends up getting Death Touch by them playing the Snow-Covered Plains. At this point, like, drawing a Plague Engineer to take the Icefang Coatl out of the way is actually, like, really, really, really good. I'm going to assume that both of those lands are gone and assume that my opponent still has Swords to Plowshares. That's really annoying. Okay. Yeah. Plague Engineer looking hot. Mana doesn't quite work out well here. I can double suspend Profane Tutor for a couple turns from now. I don't really know how I feel about that. I think this game is over before that, one way or another. Yeah, but I probably lost this game on turn 1 when I thought I had Pithing Needle in my deck and just played Urza Saga on turn 1 instead of working towards turn 2 Opposition Agent to, like, shut off these fetches and stuff. Like, obviously, the texture of the entire game is different, but that is the impression I have of this current situation. Alright, opponent just eats that damage. So that my opponent can't play around this, I am just going to sorcery speed this. Now, Soul Herder will be a 3/3. In all likelihood, Icefang Coatl gets turned on. I just assumed, yeah. I just took it out of my opponent's hand ahead of time, right? Like, I knew what was up there. Alright, an opponent is going to try to turn the corner on the game. I think they've got it. Oh, fuck. Yeah, they've got it. That blinks Icefang Coatl, which draws them a card, does this thing. Alright, there's the Icefang Coatl draw, then they blink the Charming Prince, and they can, like, gain 2 more life. Yeah, that Soul Herder just got very out of control. And, like, now I'm feeling the slowness of these Profane Tutors. Yeah, also, like, if I board the Pithing Needle, like, Aether Vial aside, I also just get to, like, Pithing Needle that Polluted Delta, and, like, that also just wins me the game. I just, like, don't have ways to kill Collector Oof. Like, to kill Collector Oof, I have to, like, double Plague Engineer or something. I'm going to take a quick look at my list, make sure I'm not missing any random outs here, but I think I'm going to move on to game 3. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move on to game 3. Conserve my brain power here. Like, my opponent has an engine going. I've failed at closing out this game. I'm going to cut one more Profane Tutor for a Pithing Needle, I think. I don't know. Like, I was just talking about how, like, on the play, I might want the Profane Tutors. They're just so slow on the draw. It's also possible I don't want the full play set of Plague Engineers. Like, I have the best chance of just pulling off a Helm kill quickly if I play all of the Profane Tutors when I'm on the play. I actually don't think I grind... I don't think my Urza Saga replaying actually beats the engine that my opponent can eventually build. I think I'm going to not play Crucible. I think I'm going to play 3 Plague Engineers. Then I think I cut, like, one of these artifacts or one random piece of discard. I'm going to cut, like, 1 Inquisition here, I think. I'm still playing 7 pieces of discard. That's fine. But this is the trophy moment. Let's see if we can go undefeated with this discard pile. This hand is missing a second black source in a very bad way. That said, I think I still keep this. It's incredibly good if I draw a black source and still plays like an Urza Saga Profane Tutor game if I miss the black source. I get to take an Aether Vial on, like, when I'm on the play here in a way that I don't get to do when I'm on the draw, so that can get rid of a bunch of my opponent's, like, best tempo hands. Speaking of, absolutely taking the Aether Vial here because it makes my wastelands so much better. This is going to be Tundra Pass from my opponent in all likelihood. I am going to go ahead and just go on the wasteland train. I have enough lands in hand where I'm very happy with this sequence for me. Keeps my opponent off of Baleful Strix. Potentially knocks my opponent off of white for the entire game. Like, especially if I just continue to draw lands like this. This very much favors me. For those of you newer to Legacy, I am doing these Wastelands in my opponent's upkeep due to the presence of cards like Stifle. Ooh, that's a Helm. We've got some cool things to work towards. I will be playing an Urza Saga game in the short to medium term, and then we have a Dalthy Helm hand as this game goes a little bit longer. Alright, that does allow my opponent to cast this Baleful Strix, which will trade with an Urza Saga token at some point in this game. Okay. If I play Ancient Tomb this turn and take my 2 damage off of this, then next turn I can tap Ancient Tomb again, go land drop, and then play Dalthy Voidwalker. That is absolutely worth the life to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and pass the turn. Now, I do know that my opponent has a Force of Will. Ah, fuck. I wanted them to not have access to white this game. That gets to name Profane Tutor. That's very good, especially since I have another one in hand. I don't know. The upside of that is, like, it's not naming one of my other relevant cards, right? Like, ultimately, I'm still good with that. Like, they got their counterspell out of it. I'll activate this. My hand is big enough that I don't think Curse Scroll is good yet. I'm just going to grab a Shadow Spear for trample. I'm fine trading a Construct for Baleful Strix. Let's go ahead and make that attack. Alright, opponent does make that trade. And now I'll go ahead and cast a Douthie Voidwalker. So I was planning on getting a discard spell with Profane Tutor to kind of like get this Force of Will out of the way. Recruiter of the Guard's annoying. That probably gets like Collector Oof. So at this point, unfortunately, I am probably going into... Oh, it's getting the Soul Herder. Okay, they're going for the value. I am not going to take that trade. I would rather attack here. Ooh. I'm going to cast a Douthie Voidwalker here around a Daze. Not a card I expect my opponent to have, but it's a thing. Do I equip my Shadow Creature? No, I probably equip this. It's worth one more life if I equip the Shadow Creature, but I'd like to incentivize my opponent to kill the Construct instead. I need to get this Force of Will out of the way. Okay, sure, that's all fine. Are we... Okay. The opponent missed a damage. Recruiter of the Guard could have attacked. This has Shadow. This is fine. I guess I'm in trouble to like a Peacekeeper type card. Otherwise, I think I beat most fair stuff. Just like I'm getting the first attack step here. I guess there's Solitude. Alright, Baleful Strix, that's totally fine. I have 5 mana to work with this turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack first. See how much I hit my opponent for. Play Douthie Voidwalker, which I expect to get Force of Willed, and then Helm kill my opponent next turn. That's the plan. Alright, opponent takes the damage, goes to 5. Again, for if Daze type stuff gets involved, I'm going to do that. And play the Douthie Voidwalker. Okay, I have successfully gotten that Force of Will out of hand like I wanted to. So, I have lethal from Douthie Voidwalker's next turn. And I have Helm lethal next turn. And there's also this Construct, too. Okay, the Recruiter is doing some blinking. That's what that indicates to me. Like, opponent is just going to blink this at end of turn. Love my opponent tapping white mana there. And, then let's see what my opponent can find. Alright, that is a Solitude. Now, yeah. The opponent should use that now on a Douthie Voidwalker. That makes sense to me. The opponent goes to 4. Get Assassin's Trophy. That's really good. And I'll use that ability. I will grab a Swamp. Fuck, there's a lot of worlds where my opponent beats me now. How big is this? 5/5. I play Helm of Obedience, I have a 4/4. I activate Urza Saga, I have a 5/5. I can put pressure on my opponent, but I think my opponent is coming out ahead here. Question is, like, I don't know, I probably have to keep the pressure on. Like, Yorion is incoming, I don't think I can take 2 turns off for Profane Tutor. Alright, there is the Helm. This is a 4/4. I will bash in. Opponent will block with Meddling Mage. Oh shit, opponent blocked with Soul Herder. I did not expect that. Like, these are 5/5s. These trade. And I just have, like, the larger body on board now. And Trample. And another token. And, like, Helm. What does opponent have in hand? I don't know. Maybe they don't think they can win if they take that many hits. And maybe they just want to, like, cantrip for a Source of Plowshares to survive the next turn or something. Alright. What do you got? Yorion to hand. My opponent just dead? It feels like my opponent is just dead. Make Critter. Find Curse Scroll. Cast Dark Ritual. Curse Scroll. Target Meddling Mage. Name the Profane Tutor that is in my hand. 2 mana. Equip this to the creature that is not summoning sick. That is 6, which tramples over for lethal. Unless my opponent has yet another Solitude. Oh, I've gotten the GGs. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Whew. That's a 5-0, folks. That was hard fought. That one feels good. I wanted that one. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Quite good. I wonder if the Curse Scroll and the Pithing Needle should switch positions. Pithing Needle just seems so good in the format right now. Shutting off opposing Urza Sagas is great. Shutting off Planeswalkers is great. Stopping Wastelands is great. I think I want to swap the position of those two cards. Otherwise, I like a lot of what's here. Every card here did something in this league. Maybe Plague Engineer was probably the weakest one, but that still got sideboarded in. I like the options that this deck list has. This deck gets a legitimate 2 thumbs up from me. No asterisk there. The Profane Tutors are sometimes slow, but they also give a very good degree of redundancy to this deck that I quite like. They were amazing in some rounds, mediocre in some rounds, but like that's going to be the case for a lot of cards. I do not necessarily think this is the most powerful thing in Legacy. Like, surprise, surprise, like that's Blue-Red Delver, and it will be for quite some time. But I do think in a world of Blue-Red Delver, having access to these main deck Leyline of the Voids and Dauthi Voidwalkers is just so strong. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button. It helps out a lot. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. See ya!